welcome to this live today on energy management for empaths and HSPs. I'm super excited to talk about this topic because I just believe there's so much focus on productivity and do and busy. But if you're not in that right energetic state and you're not focusing on your being, you can't do the doing. So I have an amazing special guest today, the lovely Philippa Robinson. And some of you will already know her. If you came to the HSP Awakening Summit last year, you'll have seen Philippa as one of the expert speakers. I've been on her podcast before. She is amazing. So I'm going to give you just a little rundown of who she is before I bring her up on the stage. And then we're going to chat about all things energy. So I'm excited. If anybody is here, let me know and say hi. It's always nice to know we're not just talking to ourselves, even though we enjoy that. So let us know if you're here, where you're joining us from, or even if you're watching the replay. I know a lot of the ladies will be watching the replay because of the time difference, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about Philippa. So she is a coach for HSPs, and she's also a highly sensitive person. She tells her life story to inspire and empower sensitive and empathetic women to take back their power, embrace their sensitive strengths, and craft the life they're here for, so they stop feeling pissed off and find their joy. And I love that little tagline of stopping feeling pissed off to find your joy. And I'm going to just let her tell you a little bit more about herself. Philippa and myself, we both live in the Southwest. Philippa's in Bristol, and she used to work in law. And now, she's had a complete transition, and I imagine it was a lot to do with energy. So I'm going to bring her up now, and we're going to learn a little bit about her, and we're going to chat about all things energy. So, welcome, lovely Philippa. How are you?
Hi, I feel a bit like Mr. Ben, if anybody knows who Mr. Ben is. It's like I've appeared. I'm great, thank you. And I'm really excited to be here talking about what is really one of my favourite subjects.
Yes, and I just given you a brief intro. I just said that you used to work in law. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about like your transition from your former career to what you're doing now?
Yeah, a lot of people always say, how on earth were you a lawyer and an HSP? And I didn't know I was an HSP when I was a lawyer. So I suppose my career started in the 90s, and yes, I stayed in the law for a long time, but I kept moving posts and reinventing the way that I was doing the job or what job I was doing. And I now know that was a quest to find a way that worked for me. I then left completely in 2019 after I'd had a bit of a breakdown. But actually, I have gone back a little bit. I do a bit of consultancy work because that really speaks to the left side of my brain, and I like doing that. But I've taken a very different energy into doing that. So it's been it's very different. So I coach and I also do that. And I loved what you said at the beginning. Thank you for articulating it like that we all know about doing and productivity, but it's very hard to do if we can't be. And that's the energy that I want to talk about, our being energy.
Absolutely. And I think if anyone's listening today and they're a fellow empath or a highly sensitive person or an introvert, or even if they're a woman listening and they're in perimenopause or menopause, you will, really need to manage your energy. And I know this week I wasn't great. So I'm quite excited to talk to you today about the topic, because I personally did a webinar myself on Tuesday evening. And then I had a client yesterday for a VIP day in the morning. And looking back, I should have planned them better. I got through both, but after my client yesterday, I just kind of lay down for a little bit, and I ended up conking out for 3 hours. And I know it's just because I'd had too much kind of brain stuff going on so close together, and I should have really pushed my client or the webinar to a different time. So I've had a learning this week. I think in particular winter as well, our energy can be a lot lower. So when I book these in, I had a lot more energy, and I didn't really factor in, how I was going to be feeling after all my kind of Christmas indulgences and just the general kind of winter bleh. So I'm really excited to get into it. I can see we've got some people joining as well. Oh, I love that you're in the car listening today. So I know I'm not Jamaica is a lovely HSP, and we've got another lovely HSP here, Brigitte. So thank you for joining us, ladies. Always good. And if you've got any questions about energy for Philippa or anything, or if you want to share, don't be shy. Obviously it's hard for you in the car, but if you feel inclined, like, do jump in. The first thing I want to ask you, Philippa, is what exactly do you mean by energy?
Good point. So you know, this topic of energy management is really important for us as empaths and HSPs. And just going back to what you just said then about your back-to-back days and then needing to lie down, you know, that is something I had no idea of. So when I was a lawyer, I would, you know, it was high stress. It was all go, go, go. I worked in a big commercial firm. And I knew nothing about energy then. And I didn't know about being an HSP. And, you know, a lot of what I'm going to say about energy applies to everybody, but it applies more so to HSPs and empaths who have a slightly different experience of certainly sensory stuff in the world and generally just being in the world. And back in those days, I used to think that because I was so exhausted, I found it so very hard. I thought there was something wrong with me, and I thought I was broken. And what I carried on doing was pushing through. And of course, I burnt out many times to different levels. And I say that with no pride. I say that with, I just wish I'd known more at the time. And I would have been able to be kinder to myself. I would have been able to work with my energy and my body and what I needed, and wouldn't have ended up kind of in the place that I found myself, you know, in 2017. I mean, put very simply, what is energy? You know, energy is the capacity to do stuff, to do work. That's what a lot of people think of as energy.
Yeah.
What can we do? And really, if our energy is down, there is more to it than that. And that's what I want to talk about. But really, if our energy is down and we are not at our best, we can stay in that place of like low energy and low mood for quite some time if we don't do something about it. And, you know I was there for years, as I've just sort of explained. I wasn't there all of the time, but I was definitely there long enough for me to not be thriving. And I was there long enough for me to, you know, feel pissed off and really not feel any joy. So it's that work around that for myself that has led me to this new tagline that really means something of stop feeling pissed off and, you know, find your joy. So when we think of energy, you know, I think a lot of us will default to, okay, am I eating well? Am I drinking lots of water? Am I moving? Am I sleeping? What is the quality and the quantity of my sleep? Those things are absolutely important. I'm not saying that they're not important. But what I'm talking about is another sort of energy, or additional sorts of energy, which I would call spiritual energy. The whole thing I would call spiritual energy, just because that's a neat little way for me to describe it. But anybody who's listening, that if they don't like the word spiritual, you could put another word in there. And I'm not even going to suggest what word, because I'm sure you will have a word that fits you. But it's about this invisible force in us that flows through all living beings and contributes to our overall well-being and fulfillment. And that's what I want. I want everyone to be as well as they can be and feel as fulfilled as they can be. Because to my mind, that is the point of us being here on this earth, for us to be well and be fulfilled. And if there was more of us living like that, then I think the whole world would be a better place. But, you know, bit by bit. So I feel that energy has to be looked at holistically. You can't just look at one part and not the rest, because I certainly know I have been in places in my life where I've been eating well, drinking well, sleeping, moving, and I still feel pretty crappy. So there's definitely more to it than that.
Oh, I love that, because I think if you're not in alignment as well, your energy will be slightly off, and I can totally relate to your career and, you know, not feeling happy and burnt out. I was the exact same. I was in financial services. It was just so not me. And then I had back surgery a few years before you, like about 2014. And yeah, I was pretty healthy, like you say. I was going to the gym several times a week, and you know, so it was quite a shock when my back went. I was only in my 30s, and people would have been like, "You're quite healthy. You eat well, you drink well." But I was massively out of alignment. And I remember somebody saying to me at the bank that there's a Chinese saying that, you know, if your back goes, it means you're not happy in your life. And I thought, is absolutely spot on because I absolutely hate this job, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a massive wake up call. And we don't want anyone listening here today to be having burnouts, but I think a lot of people do have burnouts if they're just not doing the thing that sparks joy for them. They're doing things that they're good at, and other people say, "That's amazing." I get told constantly, "Why would you leave that job? That's a
Yeah.
great job. That's the job for life, and you get a great bonus. Why would you leave?" So I had that for 11 years in my head. And law, again, amazing profession. Like, why would you leave that? But I love
Oh,
that you're now doing it in a way that suits you. You're kind of, like you
yeah.
said, you're doing consultancy to work with your left brain. And so you're doing a bit of both. And I love that you're managing your energy, and then you're doing the coaching and helping other HSPs. So I love that you're doing that combo. I can see a few comments coming up, and I love these. So I'm going to showcase Snakey. Yes. And I think we'll both agree.
Absolutely.
We both only found out we were HSPs in the last few years. I knew I was an introvert for a long, long time, even though people used to tell me I'm not an introvert. You're not, you talk. And I'm like, I am. There is such a thing called a connection focused introvert. We don't all have to be fact focused. And then I thought, okay, I know I'm an empath. I kept hearing the word empath and I soak up feelings. But then when I read about being a HSP, wow, it's like light bulb.
Yeah.
And I love Brigitte saying this. Yes, joy,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's horrible when you feel sad and wrecked. To be honest, I was wrecked yesterday, but I was happy wrecked because I'm
Yeah.
working my joy, as opposed to my last career or whatever. I would just be wrecked mentally and physically. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing, ladies.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
great to have you on. It's great to have other perspectives as well. And I was going to ask you, sorry, Philippa, go ahead.
No, it is. And it's just really interesting, the points that like being nice to ourselves is really important. And it feels like so obvious, but how many of us are nice to ourselves all the time? I mean, to be honest, that's, one of the points I might talk about, or was going to talk about, that, one of the things that's really transformational for our energy is self-love, which, okay, people listening might not like that term because is it a bit airy-fairy, but it's just being nice to yourself. Why wouldn't you be nice to yourself? Because you deserve it. We deserve to be nice to ourselves, kind to ourselves, compassionate. And for me, the big thing is accepting ourselves for who we are, not who society tells us that we should be, not who our parents have expected us to be, not who our friends think we are, so we have to carry on being. Who are we really? Who do we want to be in the world? What energy do we want to bring to the world? What do we, just, I don't know. It seems so simple, and yet it's not. It's not. And it's been a massive journey for me to get to this place of self-acceptance. And a big part of that was discovering I'm an HSP. It made sense of a lot of things in the past, and has enabled me, like I said, I suppose, to go back into a...
Oh, you're frozen on me. Hopefully you're going to come back. I think it's a Wi-Fi. Let me know, Brigitte or Taniki. Can you see that Philip is frozen? Hopefully it's not the whole thing. I can see we're still recording. Hopefully. I'll just keep chatting, and hopefully you can't see Philippa as well, and we're both not chatting at the same time. Okay, thanks, Caroline. Let me know in the comments, folks. Has Philippa frozen on you? Or is it just my side? Just even put in yes, or she's frozen. Oh, thanks, Tanaki. Okay, so thanks, Brigitte. So I'm sure Philippa will come back. She might have to refresh. So oh, she's gone. She'll come back in a sec. She'll join. Thank you. She'll be back in a sec. But yeah, I can totally relate to what she's saying there. Like, I have been super hard on myself my whole life, and it drains your energy. And I think since I discovered I was a HSP, I'm way more accepting of myself, and I give myself more of a break. And I think before I knew I was a HSP, I used to beat myself up and think, why can't you be like the other people? You need to do the same as them. And you're kind of having this mental inner battle with yourself, going, why is it easy for them and it's not easy for me? And it really drains your energy. But now that I know I'm a highly sensitive person, I'm just more in my flow and just got way more energy. And I think one of the things my clients comment about, or people who come to my webinars, is, oh, love your energy. Whereas if you'd met me in my last career, I just think of how I used to walk in the door in the bank, and oh my god, my energy used to dip the minute I'd walk in. I just feel quite sad, my shoulders would shrug. I was kind of on my own in a cubicle, and yes, there was not much energy. I think I only had energy at lunchtime when I could get away from it and be myself for an hour. So I think it's so important. I'm sure Philippa's going to jump back in, so thank you for, we'll engage anyway. So thank you, Anna. Anna's still here, Kathy's still here. I'll give you all a little shout out. The joy of tech. Yes, it's probably a Wi-Fi thing. Hello, Melissa, as well. Thank you, Caroline. I'll just say hi to you all, I might as well. She's run out of, well, yes, the Wi-Fi has run out of energy. I don't think she has, but she'll be back in a sec. So yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you do to keep your energy up? A really interesting thing happened before I went live today. My husband's back's gone a bit, and I don't mean to be mean, but men are not always the best at looking after themselves. So I was nagging him, saying, you need to book a massage, and he's very resistant. And he mentioned that it was a luxury, and I was like, a massage is not a luxury when you are sitting working at a desk, 24, not 24/7, but that's your job. I'm like, it's a physical MOT, and I get one once a month or sometimes more. And he's very like, nah, that's a luxury. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I have to do a massage once a month to keep me sane. I also have to do Pilates at least twice a week to stretch me out, because just, being an empath and a HSP, my energy goes quicker. So I really have to factor these things. And I actually do my clients around my health routine. So I also love aqua aerobics as well. I've started getting back into that again. That gives me energy. So share in the comments, like, what do you do to give you energy? And I'm sure Philippa will join. She will. She'll find the link again and she'll be back in. Other things I do, I don't know if you can see, I think you might be able to in the corner. I've got my diffuser going. So I always have like aromatherapy oils to get me in the right mood. Today I put on lavender. I probably should have put on a more energizing one. So I'm nice and relaxed now. Oh, here she is. She's back. She's back. Hopefully you didn't find that too much waffle. Okay, some great tips from Brigitte. Sorry, Brigitte saying nature and music, time for myself, love it, and I love nature as well. Don't worry, Philippa, I'm bringing you up in a sec. Oh yeah, overload. Networking, yeah, I get it. I always give myself an out when I go networking physically. I always say to myself in my head, I'm leaving after an hour, I'm leaving after an hour, and then I end up actually enjoying it. But I totally get that as an introvert. We're just sharing tips, Philippa, about energy. Absolutely. I need loads of quiet time, Kathy, loads. And people can't understand it when they know me, or even if they're friends with me, because I'm really chatty. But I love plugging into Netflix, whatever, Amazon Prime, now, any of them, watching a boxer and zoning out. And I love nature as well. It gets me calm, and I love walking by the sea. Oh, I love that you do your daily meditation. Yeah, brilliant. Love this, Melissa. Also meditation, herbal medicine, lovely. Anything to support the nervous system, lovely. Exactly. It's all mindset and energy. You have to really work on the max before you can do anything. But I think a lot of the popular rhetoric is just do, busy. And a lot of us just cannot do that, So I'm going to bring back the lovely Philippa. Hello.
Hi, I'm so sorry about that. I've had to tether to my phone now, so I don't know what the energy is trying to tell me about that. But anyway, I'm back. So
it's just Wi-Fi energy.
We can make these things work, can't we? And I loved all those comments that you that were thank you everybody for giving us your ways of how you manage your energy. And I think it was Marcus that talked about inner calm.
Yeah.
Regrets, reaching feelings of guilt are not beneficial for reaching inner calm. And that's definitely one of the things that I always talk about when it comes to energy, because for me, it, like, raising my vibration to a place where it is now has really, there are ways I manage it now, and there were how I got from where I was to where I am now. And what, big piece of that work was looking at, the conditioning that I grew up with. What were my beliefs? What, my belief was that I had to keep doing. I had to keep doing things for other people. I had to do things for everybody else and not for me. Otherwise, I was not worthy. And really looking at that and realizing that absolutely did not work for me, didn't benefit me, and that it wasn't selfish to do things differently, has been huge transformation for me. So so our conditioning, are the experiences that we have in our formative years, any trauma that we've experienced certainly in our childhood, are going to have a massive impact. So I just think that the point here that I love to make is that it's not just about eating, sleeping, moving and drinking. Those things are really important, and those things help us maintain ourselves. Like, I'm having a really busy time at the moment, but I am making sure I'm getting my my cold water swims in the marine lake that I swim in 2-3 times a week. I'm making sure I'm taking I'm making sure I'm taking the supplements that I'm having. I'm working with a homeopath at the minute, so making sure I'm looking after all. I'm keeping those things going, which is really interesting to see how I am managing this really busy period, because I feel like I'm managing it so much better than past me would have done.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, in the past, like I was go, and I was living in London is go, 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 go. So, and I can go fast, and I can be a fast person, and I'm sure you can too. You were in law, and we can do it, but you will burn out. And I have my own little cocktail going of HRT, supplements, exercise. I'd love to say I'm always good at diet. I'm not, but I try to be good for the most part. And I love your take. It's real refreshing to hear that you can be doing all of these and you can still feel shit. That's a good take. And I think empaths and HSPs will get it, because if you're out of alignment, you're not going to feel good with all these things. There's something else that you need. So I've not heard this take before, and it seems so simple, but we hear all, eat well, sleep well, whatever, but you can still be off. So I love this point. And my next question for you is, what drains your energy? I know for me, it's doing things I don't want to do. And in the past, I was pretty bad at boundaries as an empath, real people pleaser. I'm a recovering people pleaser now and a recovering perfectionist. And I think it was all because of, I didn't know it was a HSP. You're trying to, do everything and put a little mask on that you're like everyone else and get on with it. But I'm way better at boundaries now. I'm way better at saying no. I think the older I've got bolder, but that's the big one for me. If I'm doing something I don't want to do, and I look back and I think, God, I did so many things I hated to just placate friends or colleagues. And I knew, I had my inner gut was like, no, don't do this. And straight away I'd be like, yes, coming out my mouth. And it just, then you have that resentment and that guilt and like beating yourself up. And it's a whole mental thing. It's like a fight with yourself. Why did you say yes? Blah, blah. And then you do it. Yeah, it's just horrible. So I'd love to know what drains you.
It's just, you're absolutely right. It's a big sort of, ongoing sort of circle, isn't it? That and until we can stop ourselves and go, okay, this is not working. Where do I need to make some changes? And we're not always going to get it right first time, but we can step by step work out what changes we can try, what's working, and what's moving us in the direction that we want to go. I mean, what drains my energy, or it's interesting because I think there's different levels to this. But if I give you an example from the weekend, so A friend of mine was 50 at the weekend, and me and my husband were invited to go out for dinner with them. But it was a surprise. She didn't know we were coming. So, I was really looking forward to it. I knew we'd have a great time. And during the afternoon or early evening, my husband and I had a bit of a row about something. He said something that I took a bit, and I was thinking, okay, and then I could really feel that it was going to affect my mood. Now, I'm not saying let's bypass any bad feelings. I'm not talking about that, but this was low grade, really. It felt quite big at the time, but really with hindsight, it was low grade niggling, really. But I could feel my energy going down. And I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this for me. I don't want this for my friend. So I don't want it for all four of us. But mainly I didn't want it for me, and I certainly didn't want it for my friend. So I just noticed, and I think this is the whole key to all of this, is noticing the people that you spend time with. When you leave them, do you feel joyful and big smile on your face and seen and warm and cozy and fuzzy? Are they a radiator, basically? Do they make you feel all warm and cozy, or are they a drain? You end up walking away going, oh God, that was like, that was a bit hard work, wasn't it? Glad I don't have to do that again for a little while. And there are some people in our life that make us feel like that, or we end up feeling like that, and we can't avoid. So then we have to find ways of strategies for coping with that. But are the people who, frankly, we don't have to see. So then we have a choice. And what is that choice? Do we carry on seeing them, but we limit the time we spend with them, maybe less frequently? Yeah. Or do we just get rid of them altogether? And I do think it's, it ends up being a bit of a clear out sometimes, a clear out energetically, because, make space also for new people to come into your life. And what can I do to raise? I just, when I noticed that I was getting in a bit of a spiraling down, I caught myself and I went, okay, this has happened. Do I want this to ruin the evening? The big picture was I wanted me and my friend and us all to have a nice time. I think I put on some nice music and got ready. By the time I was ready, it was like, okay, it hadn't gone, but it wasn't taking me down. And we ended up having a brilliant time. And I really noticed at the end of that was very different than the old me would have been like, and how much better it was. So that's building new neural pathways for me, that doing that, it really works, and it works for me. And
I love that.
Putting me center place more is really what's changed everything. And that, coming from somebody who put everybody else in the center apart from me, has been a massive change.
Oh, I love that. I love that you had the power to just detect it and then reframe and, not want to kill your hubby the whole night. I think we've all been there with a partner, eh? And it can affect your mood, and it tends to, little niggles do tend to happen, I find, before you're meeting people. So I think it was really great that you could get yourself out of that state and just have a great night. So that's amazing. I love that. I'm just going to show Kathy's comments here. There are energy takers, energy givers. I've personally ended friendships if they felt like, well, I ended one a year or two ago. I just felt drained every time I came away, and I thought, actually, what am I getting out of this friendship? I'm not actually getting anything, So, and I felt guilty at the time, and then I got over it. I just thought, wow, like you say, it opens up that space for like minds, and I know since actually I've niched my clients, and I mainly work now with empaths and HSPs. Oh my God, my life, my business, so much happier because I'm attracting kind people who actually are givers. And it's such a difference, my God. So I just want to say, big up all the empaths and HSPs listening today. We are the best, honestly, we really are. And our society tells us there's something wrong with us. We're too sensitive, we're too XYZ, but actually biggest hearts like go in. And God, I like working with people like this is a pleasure, as opposed to working with people who are like tank. It's just like, oh my God, it's a game changer. So I know the time's running really quickly.
I know. Yeah.
I'm going to combine, maybe I'll consolidate the last two into one. And I want to also, before I even go into the last question, tell you that the lovely Philippa is doing a webinar next week on self-sabotage. And I think it's such an amazing topic, because I know I have self-sabotaged many times. And she's kind enough to have me on as a special guest. So I'll be talking about self-sabotage on LinkedIn. And I think pretty much all of my clients have self-sabotage on LinkedIn at one point or another. So we will give you details at the end if you want to come and join us and like continue this conversation, because I think energy and mindset were so important before you do anything in life. You really have to line these up. So I'm actually just going to show up on the banner here for a sec. Just if anyone's watching on replay, the webinar is going to be the 8th. Send us a DM if you're not already connected to us, and we'll send you the ticket to sign up. We're not posting about it yet. We're just inviting you lovely people first, because we'd love to have you there first. So yeah, send us a DM after and we'll send you the link. I'll just put that up before I forget. And then I'll go into the last question. So what can we do instead to conserve our energy and to stop being drained? Like, have you got any kind of overall tips for us to take away today?
Well, it's kind of a mix of some of the things we've talked about already. My biggest tip is to notice the drains, because until you do notice that, you're kind of scrabbling around really. But noticing those drains, noticing when you feel drained, and maybe being able to track it back to, was it a person that I was with? Was it a place I was at? Is there an environment? Like, is it in the office where there's big overhead strip lights? That's a big one for HSPs. Was it a really strong smell? Something, what was it that started to knock you off? And that is a real clue for you to then work out what to do instead. You've already mentioned boundaries. I mean, boundaries is a massive subject, but also is really quite simple as well. I always think of it as an energy management system. So, it's not a surprise that boundaries really come into energy management. I think once you've noticed, then there are a few different things you can do, but we don't really have time to go into those now. But also, I think a big one is something I've already mentioned, which is accepting ourselves for who we are, and knowing that that is wonderful, beautiful. For you are here, you're here to be who you are and do what you do, that's in alignment with you. And we don't have to do what society tells us to do, because kind of nobody really fits in those boxes. And that takes a lot of self-love, a lot of self-compassion, a lot of working through that conditioning. But that is actually one of the best things that we can do if we really want to get our energy to a level where we're really feeling like we're thriving.
Absolutely. I think it's so important, and it's a journey. I'd love to say I loved myself all my life. I certainly did not. I think I only started to probably love myself probably in my 30s. And it's like I say, it's a journey. I'm 50 now. Like your friend, I was 50 2 weeks ago. So now I've come into my own. You get a bit more badass as you get older, and you just totally own yourself. But I think at the start it can be hard. And I love what you said as well about the bright lights and the smells, because things like that can knock me off. I hate like really strong perfume. And I know my mother-in-law, she loves those big heady perfumes from the 80s that like poison, knock you out, and you're like, oh God, she's always sending them to me. But I have the heart to tell her I like a more kind of like aromatherapy scent. And then lights as well. Like I'm doing this now, and people always say, oh, you always look so radiant, but it's the lamp. So the minute this is over, I'll show you now, folks. I'm going to switch it off now. Big difference. I'll be like this after. Yeah, I've got it on because obviously I want to look. I want you to see me, but the minute this is over, that lamp is going off. So yeah,
Me too. I've got 3 because I'm in quite a dark corner, and mine all go off because they're starting to. I can feel they're here on either side of my head. Yeah.
you just have to manage it. And sometimes I forget to switch it off, and I'm like, why do I feel? And then it's like, oh, that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you say, it's that noticing, and that really is the key. That's the key to starting the journey to working it all out.
Brilliant. I love that. Amazing tips. And I know you're a trooper. Well done for, obviously you had the tech issue and you went off, you came back. Well done everyone for staying with me, listening to me.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
I've got lovely Nina saying, great topic. Thank you, Nina. We will share the details after. Let me just show a few quick comments before we wrap it up. Amazing. Imprisoned.
Oh, love that.
I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling of being imprisoned. So let's see.
I was in my 50s when I discovered all this. So, you know, it's really only been the last 5 years or so that I've woken up to who I actually really am. So it's never too late.
Exactly. And if anyone's listening today, I did host a summit last year. I mentioned it, the HSP Awakening Summit. I've got all the replays. They're all free, and Philippa's on it in a session. So if you want that, just let me know as well if you're DMing me, because we just want to share the love and we want to like empower and awaken as many HSPs around the world as possible, because we don't want people to find out what they are when they're in their 70s. And so, you know, people are finding out in 60s, 70s, 80s. I was late 40s. It's never too late to find out and embrace. And some of you will have kids who are HSPs and partners who are HSPs and friends, and the whole world will connect and make a lot more sense once you find out. So if anybody wants those replays as well, I can put the link to them in this chat after. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for coming along. You're all lovely, you're all like minds. I would encourage you all to check each other out if you're not already connected. Look at the lovely people commenting today. These are all amazing empaths here. Do have a look at the event page as well, and you can see on the networking section all the people who signed up today. If you want more empaths and HSPs in your LinkedIn feed and you want to kind of hear that kind of content, you know, do connect with each other, because you are givers and you never know how you can help each other down the line, whether it's collaborating or some of you might actually be clients for each other. So do check each other out. We will give you the link later on to the webinar. I'm just going to wrap up by putting on this sexy ticker. Just to use the tech a little bit. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Thanks for bearing with us with the tech issues. Tech is great when it works. And we're going to wish you all a lovely day with lots of energy. And thanks a million again, Philippa, for coming along. You're amazing.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
I can't wait to do the webinar with you. It's going to be amazing. So
I'm really looking forward to it. It's a really great topic, I think, and it's been one that's really been important to me, which is why they're the topics I like talking about. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I would love it if any you know, people listening today sign up for it and come. Obviously it's free, there'll be a replay, but please sign up.
Come join us, folks. So
exactly.
We will love you and leave you. Have an energetic day and an energetic weekend, end to your week. And yeah, sending you all good vibes. Take care, folks. Thanks, Philippa.
Bye.